RotoGrinders, Dean here. Dean78904. That is the daily fantasy handle. Hopefully we take down some money with that screen name on the old DraftKings this evening. Joining me today for the very first time this year, talking some basketball. We got him away from the prop shop. What's up, prop shop? I just dropped the link over there in the Discord channel. That is a free Discord channel where everybody hangs out and talks props with lots of people, but Chief is there many times throughout the day. Will, it's hump day. It's a 10-gamer. It's a big boy slate. We're not messing around. Not a lot of time for pleasantries, but, happy to have you on. Very first time this year.
Yeah, man. Who doesn't want to come on and talk some NBA? So very excited. The NBA is definitely one of my favorite DFS sports. In fact, the big three, CSGO, NBA. I'm just kidding. NBA, MLB, NFL. You're never going to have a problem talking that with me, and so it should be a good slate. I'm very, very excited about it, and from a props perspective, from a lineups perspective, just a lot of good things happening.
Yeah, if anything pops up as we go break it down game by game, do you happen to have any props you like? Any sort of leans? I know you're talking things like underdog and prize picks and all that good stuff throughout the day in the prop shop. And you are talking CSGO. It's not a part of most people's big three, but it's probably in some people's big three. And that's also going on at all sorts of goofy hours, isn't it? CSGO, like 2 o'clock in the morning and things like that because of time differences.
5 o'clock in the morning. Where you going to be? Outside on the corner. You better get yourself together. That's a throwback song. I'm sure somebody out there listening to the show actually knows the reference or the artist to the song that I'm talking about. But the prop shop is a magical place, and the prop shop is a part of RotoGrinders, which is an even more magical place. So excited and thrilled that I've been able to carve out a career here over the past few years. Great place to work, great people, and we all get to see each other once a year. Hint, hint. I'm hoping that the big wigs are listening. I'd love to see everybody in person in February. I'm absolutely planning to be in Nashville, even though we haven't heard anything just yet. I have missed that annual trip. Mrs. Chief is already aware. Come February, don't look for me at the Super Bowl unless you're coming with me. Chief plans to be in Nashville. I can tell you that right now.
I've yet to actually formally say congratulations on your engagement. I think I texted you or something like that, or told you in a Discord thread or something like that. Is she going to be Mrs. Chief at the time, or it's more of a, we're not getting married. When are we getting married? Do we officially know or no?
Oh, next year. But listen, it's a done deal. There's no backing out of this thing.
Okay, fair enough. I want to see if anybody in chat caught your reference. I will admit, I will fess up, I did not catch your musical reference. Maybe Stan did, or Mr. Richard, or Michael. I don't know. Let us know if you caught the reference that Chief was thrown out. You kind of sprinkle in your little musical references throughout the show. I appreciate them. Sometimes I get them. That time, that was a whiff for me, unfortunately. It's a 10-gamer.
It's an old hip-hop song. Throwback.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like 80s, 90s, 90s.
90s, but it's not like one of those ones that anybody would actually know. Like you'd have to be deep diving for this one.
It's not.
Let me just say, folks, please excuse me if you see me taking a bite of some teriyaki chicken. I've got to leave straight from this recording. My son has a basketball game, and I'm going to be headed to that. So just bear with me as I finish my food and such.
That reminds me, by the way, you have the Food for Thought podcast with the Luch Monday nights. One of these days, I'm going to crash. I'm going to get the invite, or I'm just going to crash on my own. I'm going to get like the code and just sneak in the room. I'm going to hang out with you guys and talk.
Look, Dean, you want to come on this week?
Oh boy, Monday nights. What time do you guys record?
Well, we might record early. Actually, we might start recording a little earlier, like before anything actually happens, like 1 o'clock in the day, and then we'll release it Tuesday. So you guys, it's a look ahead fun pod. Yeah, if you want to come in at 12 or 1, just let us know. I'll get with Luch, and hey, as a matter of fact, Dean, just come on next week if you got time.
Many years ago, not that long ago, but myself, Grant, Mangone, we had absolutely epic like early week podcast. JM to Win hosted it before I did. I stepped in when he stepped away. and did his own thing. But so I'm used to like the early morning peak, like Mondays, and just sort of like, just kind of reacting to what happened on Sunday. And like your very, very first thought. Of course, now I host a Wednesday night show with Rebar and Daigle, and just basically let those guys just fire off all their awesome stats. But yeah, so I have some experience talking some football.
Let me ask this. I know it's not like a freebie day, right? It's not a freebie day. I already know this. But Steve, is it possible to give out something free? Like, is it possible? Let me know. I don't want to overstep here. Just kind of buzz us, ping in, however you want to do it.
What do you want to give away?
Send us something in the private chat. We're going to figure out what Jerome has, and then we'll give it away. Jerome Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely picked up on my reference. So there it is. There it is. Yes, Nonchalant. Go check that song out. 5 o'clock in the morning. You'll get, if you listen to the song, you will quickly get the reference. But yeah, Jerome picked that up. So I'd love to get Jerome something. Jerome, are you a premium subscriber? Just say yes or no. And if the bosses let us hand something out, then I think we'll have
a week free of RG Premium. Yeah, why not? Hook it up.
Yeah. Let's hand something out to Jerome. Jerome is premium. Jerome, T-shirt? do you have any RotoGrinders paraphernalia? If not, let's get Jerome a shirt or something. Because listen, that was a tough one, Dean. Like you had to be listening to know that was Nonchalant. So appreciate that, Jerome. He didn't leave me by my lonesome. I don't think anybody else got it but him. So I'll let you cut off the shenanigans, Dean, and put this show back on the rails. I also, secondarily, since I'm saying we're putting the show back on the rails, I also have Red Lobster, those Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster that I will be partaking of. And Mrs. Chief actually makes these at home. They are delectable. I don't know if you guys can see this, but doesn't this look exactly like the restaurant? I mean, she's freaking amazing, and it tastes even better. So, this thing is buttery, cheesy, garlicky, cheddar back bay biscuits. And man, I'm going to take a bite right here live on the air. I love these things, folks. I mean, I really do.
Aaron in chat says me putting the show back on the rails. Yeah, like I'm usually the one derailing the show, but I guess now I'm in the position of putting it back on the tracks.
My gosh.
We're here obviously for 2 hours all the way up the lock. We yield to the Crunch Time crew. Andy Means will be on Crunch Time, as well as I don't know who's doing the tournament stuff. Maybe producer Steve can tell me. Of course, Roth hosts. Andy will walk you guys through cash. I think it might be TJ. Maybe it's Card. Somebody sharp. Somebody's going to help you all out. You don't want my take as far as those Red Lobster biscuits because you're not going to like it. It's not going to make you happy. I'll save it for Monday. I just cheddar them out. It's a deal breaker for me. I don't like cheddar cheese, so I don't know why that's universally accepted. Like that's the chalk cheese.
Where's Pepsi 7? Go ahead and get those 7s in the chat. No cheddar cheese? My God.
I don't like cheddar cheese. It's great. 7. Like, let's try it with mozzarella or provolone. Let's see how that's going to turn out. Did anybody ever think of that? All right. Not that I need it. But all right, let's talk about tonight's 10 gamer. It's pretty quiet as far as body parts. We got a lot of information already. Well, Miles Turner is questionable. My lean is he won't play, but we shall see. So my leans have been wrong more times than right so far this season. Devin Vassell for San Antonio is not playing tonight. Therefore, man, clicking the optimals. I hate what optimals look like right now, which I think is great for tournaments because it's spitting out like 4 Spurs. They're really cheap and, they're obviously pretty thin, but I just don't love it necessarily. Michael Porter's going to be out tonight. He's got that back. We're expecting LeBron to be good to go. Terry Rozier on your Hornets is going to be out, but they're kind of already priced adjusted there. Scotty Barnes, I'm assuming is going to be out. He's currently questionable. Westbrook, I don't know if it's a hamstring or he's actually hurt. Either way, he's probably not playing tonight because he's been horrendous. But yeah, we'll kind of figure it out as we go along. But one thing I do like on this slate, Chief, is that the 7 o'clock games are pretty disinteresting. We'll talk about it as far as we kind of go through. And I feel like I'm in a good position to not play the 7 o'clock guys, buy myself an extra half hour of information. You tell me if I'm wrong, though. The very first game on the slate that we'll talk about, 2 7 o'clock games. First one, O-Town Orlando is in Cleveland. 215.5 is the total. Cleveland is a 9-point favorite here against Orlando. Not besmirching Donovan Mitchell. I think he's going to smash, but like if I only have one big spend today, theoretically, he's 9-5, and he could put up 35, 40 role points. He kind of has to because that's basically his route. He's not the kind of guy that's going to threaten a triple-double necessarily, but he's good. I just don't know what his ceiling really is against like guys like Giannis and guys like Jokic, which we'll talk about. I like Mobley, fine. I don't know if I need any of it. For me, it's just like I don't think there's any pressing needs on the Cleveland side. And same deal in Orlando. This is a game that will be happening. The basketball will be played, but I don't know if I need anything in this entire game.
Oh, Dean.
Oh boy, here we go.
I think you're making a big mistake here.
What's the mistake?
I think Donovan Mitchell is squarely in play.
But do you see his price?
Yeah, I do. Donovan Mitchell.
Is he going to outscore Giannis? Is he going to outscore Durant? Is he going to outscore Jokic and LeBron?
But Dean, Giannis is like 11 over 11K.
Yeah, fair enough. That's fair enough.
I think I think he outscores Durant.
I don't think so.
I don't think Kevin Durant outscores Donovan Mitchell today. Not with the way Donovan is playing right now. And in fact, I was prepared for this, Dean. I already knew this was going to happen. I knew you were going to overlook a guy like Donovan Mitchell. You're going to try to treat him just like Quan. You're going to try to treat Donovan Mitchell like Stephen Quan, and it's going to be must play.
You're insulting Donovan Mitchell like calling him Stephen Quan.
Let's hand out a few stats. Let me ask you this. What is Kevin Durant's usage on the season?
I mean, I don't.
Young season, I get it. What's his usage rate right now?
29%.
34%.
Okay, that's better. Yeah.
Absolutely okay. What is his DK fantasy points per minute?
Durant?
Yes, Durant.
1.3.
Yep, 1.34, 1.33 on FanDuel.
Did I just win both? Okay, shoutouts.
Okay, let's move to Mr. Mitchell. What is Donovan Mitchell's usage on season, Dean, by chance?
Well, he better have a high usage because that's the only way he gets there, which is kind of my point. I would say it's like 36, 37. It's high.
34%. What's his DK fantasy points per minute, FanDuel fantasy points per minute right now?
137.
1.44 on DK and 1.4 on FanDuel, which is that better than 1.3, Dean? I'm just wondering.
Well, yeah, but give me the
okay. Wait. It is now. It's 10,000 more than 95 or 9,400.
I feel like I'm in the witness stand, like with Joe Pesci or something right now. Yes, sure.
Okay, so we can't treat Donovan Mitchell like he's in Utah. He's not in Utah. He's in Cleveland with Darius Garland continuing to be out. I think Donovan Mitchell is a better play than Kevin Durant today, and I'm willing to put a weight on that straight up. Okay.
Well, first of all, I will too. Secondly, Donovan Mitchell is in a stronger position. He's got tougher competition. If you want to talk about actual lineup construction, the guys that Durant is competing against is worse outside of Giannis, right?
But on DraftKings and FanDuel, we've got multi-positional flexibility. So why am I even concerned about who he's going against? I can flip-flop these guys in and out anytime I want.
He's guard or guard. That's not multi-position. Point guard and shooting guard.
But I'm saying, generally speaking, I can take a small forward and put it in a power forward spot. Heck, I can take Giannis and put him at center on DK. So I don't even have to compete. You see what I'm saying? There's so many ways I can get there.
Here's the thing. Mitchell's got to score like 35 real-life points in the bucket.
And he's going to.
He might. But Durant doesn't have to. Durant can do 29, 12, and 7, and 3 and 2. Like, he can do all that. And Mitchell better score, because if he doesn't score, he's dead.
But that's his MO. It's not like he hasn't been doing it. Okay. So
again, not besmirching. He's kind of priced out. And if you're playing tournaments, whatever, you want to pinch a Mitchell, have at it. Enjoy yourself. But
Kevin Durant scored 37 real points against Memphis. He shot 14 for 20. He had 4 assists and 5 rebounds. How many fantasy points did he put up, Dean, against Memphis?
I don't care about one game.
49. I know we don't, but what I'm saying is let's not act like Donovan Mitchell suddenly is only scoring. He's had at least 9 assists in 2 games.
Yes.
Not 9 assists. I mean, at least 8 assists in 2 games, excuse me. One was against Toronto, one was against Chicago. 9 assists, 8 assists. He had 4 against Washington, but he put up 37 real points. 5 rebounds. So he's putting up points.
Like, this is like his ceiling, though. That you're talking about his ceiling. Durant's got,
but his ceiling is more applicable with Darius Garland out.
I mean, I would say he's reaching it because Garland's out. But again,
well, Garland played game 1. He still put up 50.
Well, he played like a half a game, but sure.
But you. Well, either way, I tell you what, Dean, have it your way. You're going to be Mr. Burger King today, and I'm telling you right now, have it your way, Mr. Burger King. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell straight up over KD. I don't care how controversial it sounds. Give me all the Donovan Mitchell today.
What does the chat think? I'm curious. Who won that round? Michael's saying you won, but I think he called it early. To be fair, he called that one way too quickly. I was still ready to fight. I didn't think a standing 8, if nothing else. Other pieces, I mean, we've seen LeVert's usage really tumble. Again, that small sample stuff. They're talking about getting Mobley more involved. Yeah, the chat's going to say Chief, but like, yeah, I'm not here saying Mitchell's a bad play. Like, he's playable. No, when you actually sit down and make a lineup, is that the one player you want to have your big spend on? For me, it's no.
Well, but you can get lineups. You can get more. If I was building one lineup tonight, I'd have Donovan Mitchell. That's how much I like Donovan today, for what it's worth.
Okay. You like anybody else in Cleveland? I like Mobley more when you consider salary for what it's worth. But again, I'm not stressing these 7 o'clock games at all.
Hey, tell Aaron. Aaron says not optimal. You know, move on from the game. Aaron, we'll get there, fam. We'll get there. I promise. We'll get it. And Aaron's my boy because he's a Panthers fan, and we're gonna keep pounding this thing, Aaron. Who would have thought we got rid of Christian McCaffrey, got rid of the coaching staff, pretty much pooped our whole team away, and then we're going to continue to win. Aaron's my guy. Keep pounding. All right, Dean, back to you, sir.
Is that the Carolina, like, is that their mantra, keep pounding?
It is.
Is that what they said? I didn't know that. What do you have? You have a run back if you're playing Mitchell? Do you like
I do like Banchero. I like Paulo Banchero. Like, so here's the thing. It's a 10-game slate. You say, well, it's not optimal, it's optimal. I don't care about optimal. I'm playing tournaments, Dean. What I want is to play the guy that has the upside when nobody else is playing him. Nobody wants to play Donovan Mitchell tonight. Nobody wants to play Paolo Banchero tonight. And guess what? If this game is going to stay completely competitive, who's the one guy on the Orlando Magic that's probably going to help them get there? It's Paolo. And he's done it even in tough spots. So I like him tonight at 7,500, 7,300 on FanDuel. I'm in on both sites. The projections aren't going to seem great or fantastic. The point per dollar is going to be all screwed up. And I don't care about that. What I care about is, what is the upside? If Paulo goes for 45 tonight, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling like I won because nobody's going to play him. We've got him projected for 1% ownership. We've got Donovan projected for 6% ownership. I don't have to play hardly anybody else from the game. But those two guys I really like. And I think those are both tremendous tournament plays. I'm pounding the drum because I don't think you're going to get this type of content anywhere else. These guys are being overlooked. And heck, my own co-host is overlooking them. He's laughing at me. And I'm telling you, at the end of the night, Paolo Banchero and Donovan Mitchell could very well be in the GPP winning lineup. I like them both.
We'll move on. I'll just say it's a salary cap game. It's not that I don't want to play Mitchell. I just don't want to play Mitchell at 9.5 in the salary cap game. That's all. And if I'm playing 20 lineups, maybe he makes one. That's basically it. I just prioritize other players. Moving on, Atlanta, Detroit on a back half and back to back. 229.5 is the total. Atlanta is an 8.5, about an 8-point favorite here in Detroit. And this, to me, is another game where I just have no priorities. You can play yourself some Trae Young. Oh, I should say on FanDuel, specifically for FanDuel, Trae Young probably is a cash game play because they goofed on his price. He's 8.7K on FanDuel.
Yeah,
it seems
absolutely
about 500 to 1K too cheap. And the ownership is reflecting that. He's at 25%. Otherwise, in this game on FanDuel, nobody's garnering more than 10% outside of Kate Cunningham, who's around 11. He's been kind of slow coming out the gate. And I know in He wasn't great in preseason for what it's worth, and I'm not saying you can't play him, but they're asking basically full price for him. 10-game slate, not priority. You want to play him, sure, whatever. Beef stew, you can catch him on the right night. He stays out of foul trouble, I suppose, maybe, but again, not a necessity. What do you think as far as Atlanta, Detroit? This game is mostly a cross-off for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, with the exception of the reason why, so Trey on FanDuel, what you've addressed, he's too cheap. On DraftKings, where Trey is 97 and DeJounte's 98, I don't feel like I have to take them just because they can share the responsibility. Don't get me wrong, because we've seen earlier this season they can both go off for 60. But the guy I think I'm most interested in here is actually John Collins. Sneakily, I know he's 6,800.
He's been great so far.
Yeah, he's been fine. Can he get us across the 40 threshold tonight against Detroit? I think it's plausible. So these are the types of guys I'm looking at. It's a 10-game slate, but kind of the overlooked guys, Dean, right? Like John Collins is going to be another overlooked guy that's in the mid-range, not quite 7K, but at 6,800, I think this is a guy that has some upside in the spot against Detroit. Obviously, we're projecting Atlanta to win this game. And, if he picks up some stops, then he could be very well on his way to a double-double and a 40-plus fantasy point game. So I like him a ton. All right. That is and the thing I like about Collins, sorry, Dan, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the minutes are stable right now. Like last year, his minutes were 28, 27, 32. They were all over the place. 33, 36, 30. If he's going to play minutes, give me all the John Collins until he hits about 7,500.
All right. Brooklyn, Milwaukee. 231 is the total. Brooklyn is a 4-point dog here versus Milwaukee. Milwaukee has been the best defensive team in all of basketball this year. Small sample size, just 2 games, but their defensive rating is a 99.5. By the way, you know who's second, which is pretty surprising? Again, small samples. It's the Lakers. The Lakers are the second best defense so far this year.
Have the Lakers won any games?
No.
Defense doesn't matter. That's a joke. That's a joke.
So what's interesting about this game is it's got the absolute best defensive team so far this season in Milwaukee, and then the worst defensive team so far this year is Brooklyn. They're 1-2. They have the worst defensive rating right behind Memphis 29. Again, small samples. It's what we have so far. It's a little. I feel like 4 points is kind of not enough of the line. I know traditionally you think these teams are pretty well matched. And I know Middleton's not playing for Milwaukee, obviously, but Brooklyn's not looking great so far this year. Ben Simmons not looking great so far this year. Can't seem to stay out of foul trouble. May have foul trouble once again tonight. I assume
he's fouled out twice this season, which is very shocking. Out of 3 games, what in the world is happening?
Well, Ja hit him with an okie doke. He kind of baited him. I'm not sure if you saw how he got a 6th foul on him. It was pretty impressive. It was well played, but they're going to throw him on Giannis, I assume, and Giannis draws a ton of fouls, so there's the foul trouble theory. You really can't predict it. You can't assume what's going to happen, but you can say, well, tonight he's more likely to get into foul trouble than he typically would be. But, I mean, Giannis is the show, is the guy that let's talk about as far as this game. And we talked about, Brooklyn being horrendous defensively. I don't know who they're going to throw on him. I guess it's going to be Ben Simmons. Good luck. Doesn't matter who they throw on Giannis. He's unguardable, right? This is why I know he's a little bit more expensive than Mitchell, but this is why if I'm going to have a big spend or two, I'm just going all the way up to the top to a guy like Giannis first and just kind of making it work. Start on the Milwaukee side. How much are you prioritizing Giannis? And I guess we could talk about Holiday, who, historically when Middleton's off the court, he thrives as well. I like his FanDuel price more than his DK price.
So let me just say, I do think Giannis is probably, the top play on the slate in terms of upside matchup, etc. I do think, Giannis kind of takes the cake today. So don't ask me if I would take Mitchell straight up over Giannis, because of course the answer is going to be no. 11-2 on DK, 11-6 on FanDuel. Don't care. I think he's the one guy you get in your lineups and probably start your cash games with. I'd even be my tournament lineups with Giannis for what it's worth. I think this is a really good spot for him. In terms of the Brooklyn Nets, I actually don't want to play a single Brooklyn Nets player today. I don't. And it's nothing against Kevin Durant. I just feel like Kevin Durant doesn't have as much consistent upside as we think. Yes, it's daily fantasy sports, but I'm not expecting him to have some monster game tonight. So Kevin Durant's probably going to be a fade for me. Probably going to fade Kyrie as well. I do think the Ben Simmons welcome back to the NBA game is coming. I'm just not sure it's tonight. And yes, his shot attempts are way down, which makes it hard to believe. But I do think, like, if you look at so there's one game when he scored 33 fantasy. We had 10 rebounds and 8 assists. I think those games are going to start to pick up at some point. So as his price continues to stay really low, I know, we're probably down on him right now, but I did want to point that out there. Keep an eye on Ben Simmons. I do think a big game is coming very soon as he continues to get those legs up under him. But for me in this game, honestly, it's Giannis and it's nobody else. That's pretty much the approach that I am taking.
I like a little game stack with Giannis. Pieces like Giannis and Holiday and Durant and Simmons. I know it's hard to make all that work, but maybe 2 of those guys or 3 of those guys, if you can kind of make it work with the cap. I'm on board with Simmons just because the price, again, I will like you if you're too cheap, and I will dislike you if you're too expensive. And I think he's too cheap. We've seen him be like a 9K player in the past. I understand it's a different situation right now. The usage more so is going to Kyrie and Durant, but he doesn't necessarily need a big usage to get by.
Yeah, if he's 40, yeah, he's probably got 10 assists, 10 rebounds, probably four blocks and steals between them, like 2 steals, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 1 steal, something like that, and probably 8 points. But that's what I'm saying. Like, the big fantasy game is coming. It's not going to continue to sit on the shelf. Like, it's coming, and the price is cheap enough to take a shot for sure.
Michael in chat's asking about in tournaments, if you play Giannis, you have to run it back with somebody. I don't think you have to. I might, but I don't think it's something. I would not force the requirement, and it doesn't sound like you would either, right?
Yeah, I feel like the run backs are the expensive guys, and I just prefer to play Giannis over any of those other expensive guys. So that's really where my run back comes in. If I was going to run it back with anybody, it'd probably be the player that no one wants to play, which is Ben Simmons, to be honest with you. Yeah. That would probably be my run back because I feel like he's got – hear me out, folks. I'm not trying to insult anyone. Ben Simmons has been bad. But for his price, he's got comparable upside long term. So he can get 40 fantasy points, 45 fantasy points. If he does, like I said, it's because of the other things. He's not going to score 20 points. He might score 8 points, but he can get to 40 in other ways. So I just think Durant and Kyrie are priced where they should be, and Giannis still has immense upside. So nothing against, Brooklyn as a team. There's just an odd collection of guys, and, I think Durant and Kyrie are priced where they should. Ben Simmons is probably my only run back, and I don't think I'm running him tonight either.
Yeah, and the people hate Ben Simmons. In the chat, we got buff balls on Ben Simmons, a name, and people. I don't think people just don't like rostering him. But again, I just pulled up Fan, right, and he's 6A. Tyrese Maxey is 6'1". Like, who are you rostering? Who's got a bigger upside if everything goes right? Maxey's another guy. He has to score. If he doesn't score, he's dead. He could score 30 actual points, I guess. But Josh Hart, I like Josh Hart just fine. I like Franz Wagner just fine. Brook Lopez, revenge game number 17 for him. Those are the guys that are his contemporaries. I think Simmons has got a higher ceiling than all those guys if you catch the right game. Now, was it coming tonight? I don't know. No idea. Couldn't tell you. I wonder.
I couldn't tell you either.
You're betting. I wonder if there's a prop on Ben Simmons threes. Milwaukee gives up a lot of threes, and I know if ever he's going to shoot and make one, maybe it's tonight. Maybe you get a Ben Simmons 3-pointer tonight. Just throwing it out there. And
maybe so.
They yield a bunch of threes. Milwaukee, good defensive team. Last year they were a top 3 defense as far as pace. So they were good defensively, but they play fast. I don't think they've been playing as fast this year, but again, small samples, yada yada. Where are they at right now, Milwaukee, as far as pace? I think they're back 6 or 7 or so. We'll talk about Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the worst. They're so slow. I think that game might be next, actually. No, we got one more before we talk about it. You got anything else as far as Brooklyn and Milwaukee? You're moving on.
No, let's get it, man. Let's push this cart down the road.
Yeah, so your Charlotte Hornets in New York in the Garden, 225.5 is the total. Charlotte is a 7-point dog here. You rarely see New York games that are like 225, 226 as far as totals. That doesn't seem to happen very often.
That's all Charlotte, baby. That's all Charlotte pushing the pace.
Correct. No LaMelo, who pushes pace. He's out. No Rozier. He's out. Cody Martin is out. You have a DSJ, Dennis Smith Jr. revenge game. But all these guys are kind of priced where they should be, right? Basically, they're not bargains. They're also fine. Like DSJ is fine. Hayward's fine. I don't really like to pick on New York. New York's pretty slow. But, like, the minutes are going to be there, right? It's pretty straightforward as far as who's going to be playing for Charlotte tonight. Talk me into some of your Hornets because I do see Gordon Hayward hitting in some optimals. DSJ is now at 6K now, which is probably where he should be, right?
But I mean, I don't hate DSJ getting 30-plus minutes. Like, to me, that's the difference, right? And this isn't a spot where I think he gets 20 tonight and, 18 tomorrow, 30. As long as Terry's out and Martin are out, I think DSJ is squarely in play for 30 to 35 minutes, so I don't hate it. Gordon Hayward at 6,500 on DraftKings, 6,500 on Fanduel. I like him as well. He's probably a top target of mine tonight. And if you're into props, Dean, here we go. If you're into props, we've got Gordon Hayward tonight in terms of overall scoring. Because one of the things I've realized with Gordon Hayward is that he is scoring the basketball, Dean, right? Like that's where the bulk of, in my opinion, his fantasy points are going to come from. We've got him at 19.5. I'm willing to take the over on that in the game against New York. Like I think he's going to be just fine. I wish we had the fantasy points one on Prize Picks. We don't have that one tonight. At least we don't yet. But I'm willing to get on that. And then Julius Randle. I was trying to find a good Randle prop because I think this is going to be another big game for him. But they've got him at 41.5 fantasy points. It's probably close enough. I do still think he goes over, but I'm going to leave that one on the shelf. They've also got him at 20 points flat, and I definitely think he can go over that total. So if you can do a little mini correlation there, Gordon Hayward, Julius Randle over 20.5. Those are some props I like a lot.
Some news: Westbrook, as suspected, not expected to play tonight. They're expecting Austin Reeves to draw start there. Miles Turner, kind of surprising to me at least, expected to play. I thought they would hold him out another game. Indiana doesn't really seem to care. They're not prioritizing winning, but it seems he's going to be back. He had that incident with a ball boy or a team employee or something like that on opening night where he was taken out for a week or so. All right. Let's see. Anything else of note? How about, did you mention Oubre? I'm sorry if you mentioned Oubre or not.
Yeah, Oubre is definitely in play. He's a guy that's going to, he's going to take shots galore. So I like him a ton.
Pretty good prices on FanDuel for RJ Barrett at 5.9K on the other side. Brunson at 6.9 is, I'm not like seeking Brunson out, but he's just one of those guys. If he just sort of fits, I'm loading the whole thing up. I'll just play Brunson. That's okay. The center nonsense with New York, if you get Mitch Rob in trouble, of course, Hartenstein can be interesting. But if he plays 28 to 30 minutes against Charlotte, he's also pretty interesting, especially if he gets his stocks going. Especially,
man, I do really like Mitch Rob tonight for what it's worth for the Knicks. Like centers against Charlotte is going to continue to be a thing. It's not stopping. They're not pulling up into the station this year. Get all the Mitch Rob you can handle. He's cheap enough to take some shots. Like Mitch Rob tonight, a ton.
You don't think Mason Plumlee is going to just lock it down at the net? It's not happening.
That's going to be a negative as I take a bite of my teriyaki chicken on a stick.
All right. Anything else of note like that's worth pointing out in this game, or shall we just move on? I want to check the DK ownership. I talked about the FanDuel stuff. Yeah, Gordon Hayward at 6.5. We're looking at 22% ownership, and it's a little high for my liking, but it's fine. I get it. And obviously he'll be relied on with everybody else being hurt. I think it's the new haircut that's throwing me off. Did you see Gordon Hayward's new haircut? Are you on board?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe I'm just being old. It just looks weird.
I think you're being old. Let that go. Let that go.
Hey, you know what? Have your hair however you like.
Dean, you once had one of the most interesting mustaches alive. So we're not going to talk about Gordon Hayward's hair, okay? Let's be fair
I
with
would
each
be a
other
big
here.
hypocrite. Yeah, but I welcome the criticism and then the jokes because they were well deserved. And they got moving on. We're moving on, right?
Moving on, Gene.
All right. Philadelphia, Toronto, 211.5 is the total, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's the lowest total on the board, if I'm not mistaken. In part because Philadelphia is just playing at a death speed, very, very slow. Let me just double check and confirm with my pace numbers. Pull them up on NBA.com. Yeah, they're at 95 pace, the slowest pace in the league. By the way, your Cleveland Cavaliers, the second slowest for the record. Only so many possessions there for your boy Mitchell. But and also Embiid there. I mean, there's talk of like plantar fasciitis been thrown out there. I don't know if you've heard rumblings of that. I am not on Embiid. If you want a mush play, I hope he doesn't smash tonight because if he does, I'm in some severe trouble. I much prefer Jokic, especially with MPJ out. We'll talk about him soon enough. Jokic this year, his usage is way down, like 20% down. No, down to like 20%. But I think I think Jokic bounces back soon enough. He was dealing with a thumb as well too. The only playable piece really for me on the Philadelphia side is Harden. Harden's role is awesome. Every night
James Harden is back. Dare we say he's back, dude? Like, I mean,
he's felt.
Yeah, and the thing is, we've been seeing it in the fantasy production, right? Like, not only, Dean, is he putting the ball in the bucket some, like the peripherals. Like, we've seen him being in the triple-double stratosphere here a couple games already, like getting really close. So I like what we're seeing from Harden. Like, when we're seeing James Harden put up 11 assists, 12 assists, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 8, 9. Like, that's the James Harden we know and love. That's what we want to see. And tonight, Dean, he gets to face the Toronto Raptors, who should allow him to just get in high pick and roll and do whatever he wants. I love James Harden on this slate. Outside of Giannis at 11K, this 9K range, love Harden, love Mitchell. Like, these are the guys I want to build my lineups around. I think this is a fantastic spot for James Harden. And if Joel Embiid happens to be struggling here, this is also a game where Tyrese Maxey could get up and down the court a little bit, hit some open threes. If you've got a Tyrese Maxey 3-point prop in your future, if you can find a good one, tonight is probably the night to take the Maxey 3-point prop in my book. Like, tonight is the night I will get on that one on the sports book. I'm expecting him to have some wide open shots.
You talk about Harden and potential triple doubles. Nobody has more potential assists on average per game this year, with the exception of Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton at 21.3 per game, Harden at 19 per game. If you're curious, Trae Young 18, 17.5 for Chris Paul, Jokic at 16-ish, Fox at 16, which is kind of surprising, and FBV on the other side of this game, Freddie VanVleet at 15.5. Toronto also playing slow too, bottom 5 as far as pace. You know the deal with Toronto. Everybody's going to play close to 40 minutes. Nick Nurse does not care about your career 4 years from today. He just wants to ride and get his best players to get the most minutes out of them. We're projecting 38 for Pascal tonight. I mean, the price is there. Yeah, I mean that's the thing though. You can't love Pascal and Embiid, and you can't love everybody. At least not one lineup.
You can. So I'm playing one lineup tonight. Because remember, my son has basketball, so that's all I'm doing.
Are you coaching or no? I know you coach girls.
No, I'm not. Listen, so I'm taking the next couple of years off coaching while my son plays basketball. So because if I coach high school and he plays high school, I coach at a different school that he goes to. He's going to have a game. I'm going to have a game. I'm not going to get to see him play, and I don't want to be. That's just not going to sit well with me. So I prefer to sit in the stands, be a dad. Watch him play. Try not to coach in my head during the game. And
do you yell at the
say,
coach?
"Hey, son."
You're not that guy, are you? You're not yelling at the
coach.
No.
Listen, I'm not that type of coach. I respect whoever his coach is. I'm not getting in their way. If my son asks me something, asks me for some tips, I'll give him some tips. I'm going to try my hardest to not coach him from the bench. And I don't do that. I'm not that type of dad either. But sometimes I'll say, "Hey, man, should have hit that back door." You know what I'm saying? Just, hey, keep that in mind. You missed the back door. Yeah.
But
all in all, I just try to let him do his thing. and hopefully he can go there and play well tonight. Anyway, but Pascal Siakam definitely a top target. And if you're multi-entering, Dean, I think you just go over the field on these type of guys like that. That's really the point I'm trying to hammer home. You find some guys you like, you go well over the field. Like Mitchell Robinson is a guy I really like. He's a cheap guy that's going to allow me to put in a Pascal and put in a Randall, put in a Mitchell, put in a Harden. So those are the types of things I'm looking at tonight. Taking guys in good spots or guys that are going to get a lot of minutes, a lot of usage, and let's ride these guys to the money.
See Dex in chat. It's not relevant to the conversation, but I can answer it. Asking you about liking Max Strus tonight. Not really. No, Martin's going to be back for Miami, so Strus will go to the bench. He'll be a 6-man off the bench, and sure, every once in a while he runs in that 5 3-pointer game, but that's basically his route. He's got to hit 5 threes to pay off his salary, and also he's kind of about as high as he ever is for asking price, 4.8K. I think he was 5 last time out, so not really. I don't like Max Strus. If you're going to tell me you think he hit 6 threes tonight, then sure, play him, but that's how he gets there, and I would bet the under on 5 6 threes. He stunk last game, but that doesn't mean anything. If he hits his threes, he sticks around, but minutes are a little bit more logjam there in Miami. Anything else here as far as Philadelphia and Toronto? Like, again, you could always play FEV. You could always play these guys, right? We saw we don't know about Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is questionable last I saw. It was kind of silly to been questionable before because even the coach said like he's going to miss some time. Then he was questionable, then he didn't play. But we did see, to some degree, surprisingly, what's his name rose up and had like 22 rebounds. Former player for the Miami Heat. I'm trying to get to it. I'm losing his name, and I need you to jump in here. Yeah, Precious Achiuwa. That's who it was. He came off the bench. They gave what's his name like a nominal start. Koloko started, but it didn't matter. Once Precious got in, he didn't budge. That might have also been a matchup thing too. And I don't know if I'm chasing the Precious, but he's probably the biggest benefactor if Barnes doesn't go. But it still doesn't make him like an auto play or anything. Did you have a thought on that?
No.
Okay, fair enough. I'm saying hello to the chat. Kindly, drop a like. Hit that like button.
Just so you guys know, I think I'm only going to play one build on Prize Picks tonight. I think that's all I'm doing. I just, I don't want to be caught up. My son's playing ball, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play one build on Prize Picks. I'm going to go ahead and put that out right now while we're live on the show.
Are you putting it in the Discord channel? Where are you putting it? I'm
putting it in the Discord channel.
Do you want to tell the people now, or do you want to tease them to go to the Discord channel? This channel's free, for the record. There's some premium channels. The Chief, his prop shop is actually free. RotoGrinders.com/Discord, and just go to Chief's prop shop. But feel free to tell them if you want to tell them, but or if you want to tease them, you want them to go to the prop shop. Maybe give 3 out of 5.
Well, listen, I feel obligated to get it into the prop shop first. Like that's where I try to post my content first, and then I will. I'll give this one out to the people, Dean, just in case they're playing. I'll absolutely give this one out to the people.
There you go. Do you want to announce it, or are you just going to drop the link? This is an audio.
I'm just dropping it in the prop shop right now, and then I'll tell everybody my full card once we get there.
Okay, fair enough. You want to tell them as we're going along? Have we hit any players yet, or no? That are actually on the card, or no?
Well, I'll give it out all at one time. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's get these likes up, Dean. Like, what? Why are we struggling with likes? We got 200.
It's a lot of effort. You got to touch the button. It's a whole thing. 227
people watching. We're at about 10% on the likes right now. Let's get it up to 50%. If we're at 225, we're at 228. Let's get 114 likes here.
I'll take the under.
Smash that like button, and let's just smash it.
Prize Picks has under 114. I think that's a lock.
Yeah,
pretty good. But please, I encourage you to hit the like button. But just people don't like doing it. I think a lot of people aren't signed in when they're just watching the show. Just kind of,
that's cool. I can accept that. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for being an advocate, Alex. I appreciate it, my brother.
We got anything else here? Moving on.
Let's move it. Move it. Move it. Move it. Move. Okay, Dean, where's that from? That's a movie reference, not a song.
Move it. I know I can place it, but it's not coming to me.
That's a movie. Move it. Move it. Move it. Move it. Let's see who can figure out that reference. That's from a movie. Came out in the 80s.
Oh, you're showing your age. Ghostbusters? According to Herbert, is that Police Academy?
Yes, Herbert. Thank you.
No.
Herb, my man. Police Academy, folks.
Is that Citizens on Patrol or is that Mission to Moscow? Which Police Academy is that?
He does it in all of them. All of them.
I had a friend of mine who had how people used to display their DVD case. Remember people used to buy movies. Remember that? And he had 8 or 9. There was no movies. All he had was the Police Academy series, and I thought that was the craziest thing. It's that's it. That's you want to represent yourself. No other movies, just the 9 Police Academies. All right. Hightower represent. All right, we should move
Matthew
on. Right?
Says, is that beef teriyaki? Close, Matthew. It's chicken teriyaki, and it's so good. It's so good.
Indiana is playing basketball tonight versus the Bulls. 233.5 is the total in this game. Chicago is a 7-point favorite. We're expecting Miles Turner back, which, man, I've said multiple times so far this year about Indiana. I hate this team already. I'm going to hate them every single time they're in the slate. We've seen Jalen Smith just annihilate his price multiple times so far. We've seen him stink other nights. Sometimes it's not Jalen Smith, it's a guy like Gogo Wataze going off, but also his floor is 2. Hopefully, Miles Turner being back subdues the ceiling of the Pacers. Do you hate them like me? Because I love Halliburton. I think he's awesome. That trade was insane they got last year for Sabonis. The Kings are dopes. But, I like Halliburton, but I'm not really prioritizing him tonight. Maybe I should. What are your thoughts?
I think he's in play. I don't think the Bulls run through Indiana for what it's worth. I haven't seen them really smash anyone. I think Indiana keeps up in this game. I'm not saying I want to play a lot of guys from Indiana, but I will have Halliburton in the pool. Guys that have upside in this 8K range, I think they go in your pool, Dean, because this could be the Halliburton 60-point game against the Bulls. I'm not afraid of the Chicago Bulls right now. Do I think they're a good team? Yes. Do I think they're good enough to blow out Indiana? Yes. Do I think they do that tonight? No. So I'm in on Halliburton, and I think if you're playing Hallie, the run back for me would be Vooch. Not necessarily that I have to play them in the same lineup, but if that's something you were considering, I do think Vooch at 7,900 is the best Chicago Bull to play on this slate. Period.
I think he's hurt a little bit with Turner being out there. Turner Indiana's best defensive player. I like DeRozan, but I don't like that price. So DeRozan, I look at him basically the same way I look at Mitchell. I like him. I just wish it was a little bit cheaper. Can they both get there? Of course. Am I prioritizing them? Probably not.
Here's what I will also say. And this one this is in my card, Dean. I do like Zach LaVine over 22.5 points tonight this Zach LaVine should be able to get the 25 points fairly easy today. So I really like LaVine. And if you're watching this show and it's free, and perhaps you have not gotten on the premium side, we have premium projections that will give you an idea. And listen, our projections team is stellar. They're outstanding. Some of the best in the business. And if you look at the points projection tonight for Zach LaVine, we have him projected for 25 points, Dean. That's what we have Zach LaVine projected for. We have DeMar DeRozan projected for 32 points. And the line on LaVine is 22. And the line on DeRozan, I think, is 26.5, 24.5, 25.5, somewhere up in there. 25.5 on Prize Picks. I definitely think there's great value there. And so if that's the case, but I really like Zach LaVine, 22.5. I think he goes over. That's absolutely one of the props that is in my. I'm going to go ahead and give out another one. Since we're on that, Dean, John Collins is 31.5 fantasy points on Prize Picks tonight. Taking the over on that one as well. Our projections have him slightly over that, but I just think this is a spot with Detroit where he should be able to get rolling here. We have him projected for 33 fantasy points. I also have Mitchell Robinson at 13.5 first half fantasy points. And Charlotte, this is one we've been taking in the prop shop. We've been taking 13.5, the over there. And then these two props, I'm giving them out from the prop shop, these two props. But these two props are coming from, one is coming from a really good friend of mine in the prop shop. That's Tate, Tate524. I think that's Tate's full handle. But Tate is on the Anthony Davis over 21.5 first half fantasy points. And that's one that's been coming for us. And then with Cole Anthony against Cleveland, we're taking him under 26 points, rebounds, and assists. So those three, Collins, Levine, Robinson, those are ones that I'm putting in myself. Anthony Davis, Cole Anthony, those are ones that I'm utilizing from the prop shop. Looked into it. They feel really good. I think those are good lines. That's my 5 flex for today. If you're not into the 5 flex and you want something that is more like a cash game, if you will, the 5 flex is going to give you a 10x payout. The 2-pick power is going to give you a 3x payout. Then I think my top 2 would honestly be Zach LaVine over 22.5 points and Cole Anthony under 26 points, rebounds, assists. But there you have it. That's my card for tonight. Not doing anything else. Got a game with my son, so I'm keeping it very simple. Dean, thanks for the opportunity to talk about these props. And,
hey man, go for it.
Let's get back to us.
So I bet over on DeRozan on Thrive. Thrive, if you're not aware, Thrive's very similar.
Oh yes, bigger payout though for the 2 picks.
I paired it with I don't know if it's moved since, but Mobley. It's just the numbers were too low, and I did use the same tool you were talking about as far as the projections, and the difference was enough for me to think the over is pretty well positioned. Tell 2 different sites as far as Indiana, Chicago on FanDuel. DeRozan will be more popular at 8.5K. You can roster him much easier as far as the cap. 23% current ownership projection. We do have Turner and Levine at about 15% each, respectively. If Turner gets like a normal run, we're projecting him for 28 minutes or so. Pretty decent projection on him. Not a priority, but certainly fine. Just want to note on DK, no one on Indiana, Chicago projecting to be more than 10% owned. The highest projection, DeRozan, at 8% currently. Let's move on. Next game on the slate. San Antonio, Minnesota, 234.5 is the total. Minnesota, a 9-point favorite here. The big story here on the San Antonio side, Vassal being out, that certainly changes things. We're expecting Jones, Josh Richardson, the big body of Keldon Johnson. Jeremy, don't mess with the Sohan, and then Jakob Poeltl. That is the projected San Antonio lineup. And then Primo as like the 6-man du jour. What I really hate about this is if you run optimals, and this kind of stuff changes, obviously everything is fluid, but I ran them before the show. I'm going to run some now as well. But on DK, you're getting like 3 or 4 Spurs in like every lineup, and I hated that. I like them as cheapies. I like them for cash, and of course, if you want to have a little game stack, we'll talk about that. But if that's what the field's going to be doing, and I'm just double checking as far as on FanDuel, because I feel like it's not as much of a necessity on FanDuel. I'll throw it to you as far as San Antonio. Who is your favorite Spur? Who's the one like you feel like you kind of sort of have to play? Like right now, okay, so I just did a refresh, and that things have changed for what it's worth. Optimal's got 1 Spur. Next one's got 3. Next one has 4. Then it's 3 and 3. Yeah, so we're getting a lot of Spurs. Most popular Spur, we're assuming he's starting, is Josh Richardson. And then, you got Keldon Johnson, who's kind of pricey. If this game stays close, he's a guy who can put, 25, 30 points in the bucket and sprinkle other categories as well. Talk about San Antonio. They're one of the more appealing teams in the slate when you consider salary and opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Devin Vassell being out is a big deal. And, I'm not going to tell anyone to not plug in any Spurs. What I will say is let's not get too crazy. And what I mean by that is I don't think you go more than 3 at the most. Like, let's not go 4 Spurs. I think we have some. There's more creativity that exists that we can utilize than just Spurs. But I do think 3 is optimal for what it's worth. Trey Jones is my favorite Spur, despite the Josh Richardson price. I like Josh Richardson. I'm expecting Josh Richardson to play 30-ish minutes. And so at 3,900, he is exceptional value in a spot with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, I don't think we have to avoid him by any stretch of the imagination. But I will say I think Trey Jones is my favorite. And I think I feel more comfortable with Jones and Richardson because of the prices, right? Like, they could still get there even in a blowout, which I know the Spurs essentially just beat this team a few days ago, but I'm not expecting the Spurs to win tonight on the road in Minnesota. So really like Trey Jones, really like Josh Richardson. I think if you're building lineups, you don't go deeper than 3 Spurs. That would be my recommendation.
I see some questions in chat. We'll talk about that in a second, but Brett's asking about Dean Wade season, 3.6K. What am I missing with Dean Wade? Why will we play him tonight? 20 minutes or so? Like, what are you hoping for with Dean Wade? It's a 10-game slate. There's enough value, not incredible value, but there's plenty of value where I think he's not unnecessary as far as Dean Wade. If you have a thought as far as Dean Wade, by all means. But he had 21 points his last game. It's not even like a chase. Like 21's fine at 3.6, but I don't see it. I'm not sure what I'm saying here. And then somebody was asking Brandon in chat. What's up, Brandon? Favorite play 4,700 or below? It's probably. Man, Brent Brown. It's probably Brown on Denver. Maybe it's Pat Bev. The absence of Russ. Somebody's got to pick that up. A few extra minutes, I suppose, for Pat Bev. It'd be nice if he hits a 3. He burned me a couple of games ago. I'm still upset about him. But on the other side of that game, Bruce Brown. I presume Bruce Brown's going to draw the start for Denver. He kind of a 3-and-D guy, but you're going to be on the court for 30 minutes or so against the Lakers, and he's pretty cheap. So probably one of those 2 guys. I haven't looked at the Spurs prices. I don't have that up right in front of me. But, that's probably where I would go if you're talking about that particular price. As far as Antonio, let's just jump. Richardson is the biggest ownership on DK. Might be of everybody. Let me just check. I'm just seeing of our ownership stuff. Yet he's getting a harder ownership right now, higher ownership than Richardson. 37% on DK. Bruce Brown at 30%. The aforementioned Bruce Brown. I just going to mention. I figured I'd throw him in there. That was isolated San Antonio or Minnesota in that game. We got what's interesting is that nobody's playing Minnesota really, but San Antonio is going to be loaded up on him. And somebody was asking how many players is too many in tournaments. I think you can play 3 just because they're so cheap. I think you can do that in tournaments. I think, but I don't hate the idea of putting some limits there as well. But Keldon at 24%, Pirtle at 19%, Trey Jones at 16%. Soham the rookie at 3%. Was anybody else?
And Wade is starting for what it's worth. I think that's why they're.
Is that what I missed? Okay, who's he starting? Okay, like maybe he moves a little bit, but he's still like the 4th option on that team, right? Let's see, which Mitchell, LeVert, Wade, Mobley, and Allen. So who's not starting? Not starting. Is it Okoro? Yeah, Okoro to the bench. Who's also
Okoro's not starting.
Yeah. Like Osman very well might close anyway. Instead of like, there's no certainty Wade closes. My first thought is like, I don't love it, but like I hear you. Whatever his projection is, you can bump it up a little bit, but I don't want to really have my night hinge on Dean Wade, despite the fact he's got an incredible name, Wade. Right?
Yeah.
As far as the Minnesota side, they're kind of ignored. A little bit of rumblings. They've been disappointing so far coming out the gate. They haven't been spectacular defensively, despite the fact they added Rudy Gobert. You saw Kat was calling out Anthony Edwards for eating Popeyes. I don't know if you caught that. That was pretty interesting. He's like, yeah, I know you guys think that's funny, but like that pisses me off. Why do I want him in shape? I think he was trying to be a leader and but probably should have done that behind closed doors. But as far as the T-Wolves, who do you got? Who's your favorite players in Minnesota? Any runbacks with all these the Spurs chalk?
I think you're just kind of. I think for me with Minnesota, I take all these studs and I put them in lineup HQ and I set a rule that I don't want more than one of them in my lineup at a time. So whether that's D'Lo, Edwards, Towns, or Gobert, I like all four of them, but I don't even want two of them in my lineup. I only want one of them in any of my lineups at once, and that's how I think I approach the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I really think like at least one of these guys just smashes.
That's what I'm saying, but I don't know which one. I don't think it's 3 or 2. I think it's one, and that's why I set the rule. Like you put them in a group. I'm not doing it tonight. But tonight is single entry night because I don't have time to sit in front of my computer. Literally, and I know Dean knows that reference. When I get up from the computer, I'm walking out. I'm getting in the car. Yeah, Parks and Recreation, and I'm driving to the arena. So I'm not doing that, but I'm telling you, I think that would be the way I got exposure to Minnesota. The 4 studs in a group and have a rule that we only want one of these in any lineup we have, whichever one it is.
Yeah, I'm okay with getting 2. If you're playing like 2 Minnesota, 3 San Antonio, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm okay with that. Edwards, by the way, on Fanduel seems way too cheap at 7.4K. He might be cash game playable. I don't mind him in a cash game lineup. We're seeing a big ownership on him as well, 27%. Cat down to 8.4K. I know he's seeding to Gobert to some degree, but I think we're getting something big out of Cat or out of Gobert, out of Edwards, maybe 2 of the 3. I don't really have Russell right there. It's why the big 4. I think it's kind of the big 3.5. He's always fine, but I lean paying the other guys first. Doesn't mean you cross them out, but that's kind of where I'm at. And as far as DK, well, I have to give a refresh because it's at 0% ownership on everybody. I don't know what just happened to my lineup HQ. Hopefully it'll salvage in just a second. Now I'm just saying words to buy time as I'm getting the old spinning wheel. And I think all right, here we go. Edwards is most popular on DK as well, 10%. But again, it's not a lot of ownership at all. 10% to Edwards, 6% to Cat. We have Jalen Noel, especially if you want to bank on a bit of a blowout at 4%. But, Gobert at 1 or 2%. 1%. And just to walk back for a second, I saw somebody in chat. I know producer Steve showing this stuff off. Feel free to zoom in if you can, but maybe you missed it. They're asking about our projected minutes for Josh Richardson. We have it at 28, and even at 28, that's he's pretty solid when you consider his role and his salary, which is 3.9K on DK. I assume he starts. We'll see. Primo probably comes
Even
up.
Even if he doesn't, he can probably still get there in this spot. For what it's worth, Josh Richardson is the top point per dollar play with projections currently.
I don't like that. Like as a general thought on a 10-game slate, like that's not a comfortable quote unquote best value play to me in my head. Like I'm going to play him, but it just I don't feel like that's like the most comfortable best value play. Am I wrong to say that?
No, you're not wrong. Josh Richardson could very well go out here and put up 12 fantasy points. But given the opportunity and a guy that's been around the league a little bit, right? Like he's a professional. We expect that he's going to show up and do his job. He's not Tony Snell for what it's worth. He's not Tony Snell.
No, I would never. I expected more out of him though. He's had a fine career, but I just thought he'd be better. I thought he would take that extra step, and he never really fully did. And I watched him a good bit on Miami as well. And he had his moments, but all right, Houston and Utah. We're running this one back as well too. Kind of disappointed when they played not too long ago. For what it's worth, Jayshawn Tate is back for Houston. I think it's worth something because that we're having him projected to jump right in the starting lineup. I'm curious what they're going to do with his minutes there, but like theoretically, 4.6 can be a little bit too cheap. Like, as far as we can tell, he's not going to be owned tonight. Guys like Tari Eason and KJ Martin and Garuba take a pretty big hit as far as minutes. But, we're talking about Houston. It's about Porter. It's about Green, Jabari Smith as well. And then we'll talk about the Utah side. Also, Utah guys are still really cheap. We saw Kelly O and Vanderbilt when he stays out of foul trouble. This is an awesome Vanderbilt environment. Just stay out of foul trouble, and he's going to get you 14 or 15 boards, a couple stocks. He's going to get you some dunks. I really like him as a 5.1K player, just as long as he keeps his hands to himself. I'm going back to this game. I'm playing it. Big boy total. It should be reasonably close. Hopefully Houston doesn't get walloped here. I'm not fully buying into Utah like being a winning team this year. I think it's, short-term stuff. But I'm curious your take as far as this game. Are you excited about Houston, Utah Part 2? The sequel is rarely as good as the original, but we shall see.
I'm actually very excited about it. I think it disappointed the first time around. And so as a result of that, perhaps people don't take as many shots. Like Lauri Markkanen is one of my favorite plays on the board today. I know we have a very modest, reasonable projection on him at 35.5, sitting at 14% on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel he's 7,200. And well, I guess 16% on DraftKings, 6% on FanDuel. But he's a guy that I'm willing to just go ahead and take the risk with. Right? Projections aren't coming out in a huge way, but I think we've seen what he can do. What I like, Dino, the shot attempts. And you know how I feel about shot attempts. Guys continue to take – he shot 7 for 19. I don't think we're going to see that again. He shot 10 for 23 against Minnesota, 9 for 17 against the Pelicans, 7 for 19 against Houston. I don't think we see 7 for 19 tonight. And if he gets 20 shots tonight, I'm expecting at least 3 more to go in the bucket. I'm expecting the peripherals to be there. We saw his rebound numbers really kind of come down. Perhaps Jabari Smith had something to do with that, but all in all, Lauri Markkanen, one of my favorite tournament plays on the board tonight, and the projections aren't going to agree, and I don't care. What I mean is the projections are median. It's still an exceptional projection. It's over the 5X, right? But I'm expecting Lauri to go 40-plus here tonight. I really like him in tournaments. Definitely a guy I would be wanting to get some exposure to.
Biggest ownership in this game right now, according to our projections on DK, is Vanderbilt at 24%. I don't like that. I don't like Vanderbilt being chalky, and people kind of stayed away from his last game because he's been just in a lot of severe foul trouble. Olynyk at 23%, Green at 16%, Markkanen at 16%, Porter at 14%. Again, I like a little game stack here, like a 2-2. It's pretty cheap. You can stack this game and still get a Giannis, right? Something like that. You can sort of make that work as well. I'm checking to see. I'm just kind of looking at Josh Primo for a second. I feel like we didn't talk enough about Primo, but he's one of your cheapies that can kind of make stuff work, and I wouldn't talk out if he's not straight. I know we're not in San Antonio, but I was looking at some of the core plays, like one of the guys that was kind of written about, and Primo popped up. I'm like, yeah, did we kind of ignore him? Maybe we did. So give me your favorite play. It's Markkanen on the Utah side. Who's your favorite play on the Rockets?
Honestly, it's probably Jabari. I really like him. If KJ Martin were to pick up big minutes, I think I'd like him too. But we kind of need him on the floor by himself at the end of the game in a blowout, just really kind of stat pad a little bit. So out of the main guys, I think it's Jabari for me.
What do you expect out of Jayshawn Tate? Do you think that's the correct projection? 24 minutes. I think it's kind of a hedge. I wouldn't be shocked if he played 30. I wouldn't be shocked if he played 20.
Yeah. Tate somewhere between. I think he's somewhere between 22 and 28 minutes.
Yeah. I wonder if he starts. You think he starts? I think we're projecting him to start for the rest.
He very well may. If he starts, I think he probably comes out within 6 minutes or so, and then maybe he comes back with 6 minutes left. You know what I mean? Like that's how I think they treat him. Yeah. Four
stints of 6. Maybe that's what we're projecting. Something like that.
Yeah. That's probably what it is.
It's just interesting because if this was him last year, I know it's a different situation and all that, but this would be a great price for him. But there's other variables that suggest there should be some caution. Derek in chat wants to know Vanderbilt or Robinson. I assume that's Mitchell Robinson. That's a tough call for you. What do you got?
That is a tough call. They both pretty much have equal matchups. I think I'll give you Vanderbilt because he's cheaper and he's got the position flexibility.
We got 2 more games. Crunch Time Crew comes on in about 15 minutes or so. Andy Means will set you all up as far as cash.
Well, we kind of got our game.
What's up?
So we kind of have one more game.
Well, I mean, we got. I don't. You're not acknowledging the Lakers leaving their presence that they're playing basketball. Because Jokic is the other side of the game. Unless you're taking a shot at my Heat, which they kind of my Heat are overachievers last year, and they did nothing to improve. And I would not be surprised if they fall back kind of severely this year. But we'll have a conversation in a second. The Lakers are playing Denver. 229 is the total. Denver 5-point favorite here. Nikola Jokic has not been just absolutely smashing so far this year. Again, the usage is down severely, but the absence of MPJ, I think, will boost it back up. I know Jamal Murray's still there. Kind of, sort of, he's there, but that's not really Jamal Murray. It is him, but and also surrounded by what's that?
That's not the Jamal Murray we know and love. Trust me, but that's okay. He's been injured like for 1.5 seasons. We just got to see if he gets back to close to Jamal Murray. And I'm assuming Dean did not listen to the morning grind because we had a whole spiel about this.
Well, I mean, in spirit, I listened to it, and I'm sure it was spectacular. Whatever your take was.
Yes.
229 is the total. Denver 5-point favorite here. As a big spender, Giannis or Jokic, where would you start there?
Giannis.
Okay. How do you feel about chalky Bruce Brown?
I don't feel good at all.
Yeah, you're not supposed to feel good about it, but I think it's okay. I think.
Could be. I can tell you this. I don't want to get involved with the chalky Bruce Brown. How often does chalky Bruce Brown let you down?
I mean, how often is he chalky? I guess let's start from there.
It happens because he's kind of like this weird peripheral guy. But here's the deal with Denver. You know very well Jeff Green could come in and play 25 minutes. Bones Highland can play 15 minutes. Heck, DeAndre Jordan might play 20 minutes in this game. That's more of an exaggeration. That's more of an exaggeration. But come on, you know how this goes in Denver. Weird things happen. I'm not thrilled about Bruce Brown. Projections on him look really good, though. Really good.
Yeah, and Pat Bev on the other side looks pretty decent.
I'm fading Bruce Brown for what it's worth, but take that with a grain of salt. I only have one lineup.
And the reason why he's cheap, right? That's the main reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're presuming he's going to draw the start. That nothing official announced, as far as I know.
And he's playing the defense in the league, which is the Lakers.
Yeah, well, I think, again, small samples. The Lakers have been good defensively this year.
Lakers good defensively, guys.
I don't believe it. That's the stats. I'll take the over on second when the season's over, but that's where they're at right now. They've been good defensively. Of course,
Lakers are good defensively. Everybody, they haven't won any games.
Well, they're the worst offensive team in the league by almost 3 points. You know who's second worst? It's the entire city of Los Angeles. They're 1 and 2, and then my Miami Heat have also been dreadful so far. Out of bio.
The Lakers are the best defensive team in basketball. They have an 0-4 record. I just want to let that marinate for everybody.
But this is what somebody's asking in chat about Bones. It's just his minutes are just so scarce, and you're begging for him to get 25 minutes sometimes, and he's probably not going to get 25 again tonight. Maybe he does, but I feel like if Bones Highlands, if his name was like Tom Smith, people wouldn't like him nearly as much. It's exciting to get excited about a guy named Bones. Yeah, who's about Bones going up? Like Tom Smith, fade.
That's very funny, and that's incredible. I that analogy.
I can't quantify it, but I believe that to be true to some degree.
I know you can't quantify it, but I get it, right? I totally get it.
But I'm gonna have some. I'll probably play Jokic a little bit of LeBron. I'll probably do that. I don't think LeBron is necessarily optimal, but I love LeBron.
Yeah, but they're okay plays, right? They're okay plays. I will say this: I take LeBron or AD over Kevin Durant tonight, straight up, for what it's worth.
Well, I mean, that to me is like a lineup thing. If I'm playing Giannis, I might play Durant. If I'm playing Jokic, I'll probably play LeBron. You know what I mean? That's probably how that goes for me. But I understand the point you're making.
I understand. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of it's lineups, not players. Who does that sound like? Who am I doing there? I should have done with more of a New York accent on it.
Hold on. Give me 1 second here. Let me think
it's
real
lineups,
hard
not
about
players. Play if you want.
Dean, I already knew you messed it up. I didn't need the extra voice.
Oh, I don't know. I thought I was giving you an assist. I was like Steve Nash.
Thank you, Dean. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you're roping up. Were you doing like a build up for it? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, Dean. It's all right. We're still working the kinks out with our hosting relationship.
This is our first show of the year. You know, the chemistry.
That's all. That's what I'm saying.
Look at Gobert and Cat. They're losing games right now. Like, do we care about Austin Reeves drawing a star? Like, Kendrick got a bigger ceiling coming off the bench, but like his floor is really, really low. Pat Bev should play 30 minutes. Minutes equal money. Not all minutes are created equal. Pat Bev's.
Why have Kendrick Nunn's minutes declined since the start of the season?
Because he's terrible.
Okay.
But like the Lakers need him for spacing, like theoretically. Like he's their best 3-point shooter, I think. Maybe Matt Ryan is. There is a player named Matt Ryan. It's not.
No, I know. Yeah, his minutes have also declined.
Yeah,
he played 0 minutes basically in the Portland game. 17 against Golden State, 12 against the Clippers. Lonnie Walker's 4,700. I do think Lonnie Walker is probably actually okay. Like he's safe. Like that's who you play over Bruce Brown. Like we're getting excited about $4,500 Bruce Brown.
Not excited. Did you hear excitement in my voice? I was not excited.
I'm saying the general public at 27% ownership. I'd probably take Lonnie Walker, and maybe he outscores a couple guys.
What else you got to say about this game, or are we kind of moving on? Like
I wish Troy Brown was playing 30 minutes.
Earlier in the day, our projections like Troy Brown. I mean, again, I don't know how to predict which one of these Lakers does something. It's possible Walker scores 20 real points. Like you're right about that, but he kind of has to do that because he doesn't do a heck of a lot else.
What's the move for the Lakers here, though, Dean? As we wrap this thing up, because Miami,
it's
Portland.
Over.
But what I'm saying is the move to just legitimately blow up this team, move on from the big stars that you can actually get capital from, and try to get some real assets. Like, for instance, if you're the Lakers and so here's what you know in the front office. LeBron James is still the box office attraction, right?
Sure.
He is. Like, whether you're a LeBron lover or hater, LeBron is still the box office attraction for Lakers basketball. But the question is, how much do ticket sales mean to you in the grand scheme of getting closer to winning a championship in the next 5 years? Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, you're presenting that in a way of like trade LeBron. Like, if you trade LeBron, you're not any closer to a title anytime soon.
No,
he's not the reason why they're losing.
No, I understand that, Dean, but I'm saying you can still get a fairly nice haul for LeBron. I'm saying you may be able to trade him and get a reasonably good veteran and a good young player. You trade AD. AD can still get some good draft capital, a reasonably good player, a good young player, and you start to rebuild that way. And if you do that, I can tell you right now, if the Lakers are in the lottery and they have a top 4 pick because they've made these trades, you already know the league wants Victor Wembanyama to go to LA.
I'm not watching the video. Are you wearing an aluminum tinfoil hat right now?
No. Hang on 1 second. Let me finish this.
The league will be thrilled.
Now, folks, listen. Here's the thing. Dean will now sit here and try to advocate for LeBron when he is the ultimate tanker. He thinks teams should tank. The Lakers are no good. The Lakers are not good.
They're tanking organically. The tank's just happening whether they want to tank or not. Like that's
that's my point. If the Lakers want to get back to trying to build this team, trade all of these guys. Trade Russell Westbrook. You might not get
nobody wants Russ. You can't get.
I don't care. Find the deal that you can. Right. Find the best deal that you can. Trade LeBron. Trade AD, and figure it out the rest of this season and start back over. All right, I'm done. We still got time for this Miami Blazers game, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rant. We're talking sports.
I don't trust whoever is currently constructing the pieces that put this, square peg, round hole, whatever. They didn't put shooters around LeBron for how many years? And then LeBron's on Twitter talking about like Anthony Simons, this guy's money. Like he would love to have Anthony Simons, which is a good segue. It's a dual prong hammer slate. Lakers, Denver. The other part of it is Miami and Portland. 220 is the total. Miami Heat. They are.
It's going to be real quick, Dean. That's why I wasn't worried about this game.
Yeah, Bam Adebayo is really, really cheap. He's been severely
play Bam, play Damian Lillard, maybe play Nurkic. Move on.
Yeah. By the way, Daryl and chat. I like what the Pacers are doing with their rebuild, especially if that tank is in full effect. Just the trade they got with Sacramento was beautiful. I think they're better positioned, except for the fact that like there's no major free agents ever going to sign Indiana. Nothing against Indiana. I'm sure it's delightful. I've heard good things about Pawnee, but yeah. As far as Miami, Tyler Hero's been phenomenal. He's in the starting lineup, and he's chucking, and he's been awesome from a DFS perspective. He's in play. The price is bumped up. Again, Caleb Martin is back tonight. Lillard and Simons is kind of his 1A. We know about Josh Hart. That price has gone up a little bit, but, his usage is so low. He just basically is rebounding the ball. Nurkic is getting more run of late for what it's worth. Miami, good defensive team. I don't really nitpick on them too much. But it's not a lot that excites me here, but the price is cheap enough on Bam where I might go back there one more time.
Yeah.
I'm martingaling it with Bam. Like, it's one of these days, Bam's going to get what he's supposed to get, but maybe he's not who we thought he was. Maybe he's not who we thought he was. Denny Green. But we'll see. Jimmy is always just too expensive. Basically, I'd never play Jimmy. Like Jimmy. Rarely I play him unless it's like a 3.
Last year I played a lot of Jimmy. This year, not so much.
Crunch Time crew will be coming in shortly. We got Kevin Roth will be hosting. If there's any questions in chat, by all means, fire them off. We'll do our best to knock him out before Roth comes in. Just so you know, hey, if you guys on YouTube, hit that like button, do subscribe, turn on those notifications.
Listen,
what's up?
My account just got credited. My gosh, I was sitting here. I was like, where did all this money come from? And then I realized my good friend It's Orange Baby just absolutely crushed the women's Euro props on Prize Pick. So the account is looking real good right now. Orange.
What is that?
Women's Euro basketball.
Okay.
He didn't miss a single play today. My gosh. Let me see how many cards I had in that. I had 11 cards on that Euro basketball, like 11 different, and I didn't lose money on any of them. All of them hit what they were supposed to hit. He didn't miss any plays today. He was 5 for 5 on all his plays. And so I had some round robins, a 5 flex. And, man, I might need to go and put another line in before I go to my son's game. But, man, good shot, Orange. Man, this is great.
TJ Husmanzada says, if RG trades me, they'll get a 5th or 6th rounder. At best. I mean, take that trade. It's a steal. Big Hurt saying LeBron is overrated his whole. What? Come on, man.
Oh.
What are we doing? What? Seriously, we're supposed to end on a high note, and that's what we're getting. LeBron is overrated. It's the greatest basketball player of all time. He's overrated. Hey, Kevin Roth, quick question. You're a Dallas fan, right? You like the Mavericks?
Big Mavs guy, yep.
Did you watch the game last night? Any of it? Have you watched the Mavs at all this year? Oh.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. Yeah, I caught some. I just don't get to really watch sports anymore with kids and wife.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, maybe this is just me, or maybe Andy, if you caught this game, or Keith. Seeing Facu Campazzo out there, I swear for a second, I'm like, JJ Barea back in the. Oh, yeah, wait a second.
I thought that was a subtweet at Roth, honestly, when I saw that last night. That's Roth.
Okay.
Boy.
He's no JJ Barea, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
No one is.
Similar build, but like, yeah, there's only one JJ.
Yeah.
You never get to play him ever again, Roth. That's it. I hope you won some money with him at least one time.
No, I mostly just lost money playing him every night, but it was still fun.
Did you?
Can I point out something to my boy Chief over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chief, you know LeBron can't be traded this year, right?
Yes, he can.
No, he literally cannot be traded because the CPA says so.
No, I get it, man. I'm just ranting. That's all that is.
I enjoyed the hell out of it, but I was like, someone get me in this damn room right now because I want to talk to Chief about this LeBron take.
Is that
but look, they can trade, man. Look, You know what I say with this Lakers team, to be honest with you? Sit everybody down, send the G Leaguers up, and at least it's fun. And at least will play. They probably got better shooters on their G League team than they do their NBA team. And I'm actually not kidding.
Isn't that Austin Reeves?
Oh.
He's a starter, and he should be a G Leaguer.
How do you feel about Andy? Just a quick question: how do you feel about Bruce Brown chalk tonight?
I'm fine with it. I'm more so on FD though, just because I think he fits in well with the offense. I know his. I was looking at his rates a little bit ago. I think obviously his usage is going to go down, but I think he actually had a decent assist rate too, playing with a lot of reserves. So I think it's fine. I'd be much more likely to eat it on FD just because it's he's even cheaper over there, but I'm fine with it.
I think he's currently our highest projected home player on DK right now. If you give it a refresh,
Ooh.
Which he's second, right behind Josh Richardson. That was kind of the point I was making earlier, Andy. 10-game slate, the value's not amazing, and one reason to point to that is that the two most popular cheap players are Josh Richardson and Bruce Brown. Are these former teammates of Miami? Did they ever cross paths? I don't remember, but yeah, I don't. It's just kind of uncomfortable. It feels like a good night to be different. Is sort of what I'm getting at. That might be a Keith question. Oh,
yeah. What's up, Keith?
Hey, what up, Ice?
What's going on? Yeah, I mean, I don't feel great about the chalk. I'm definitely looking for ways to get different. There's enough of it that it's not super high on. These guys aren't 50, 60%, but I still don't like it. We've seen Josh Richardson dud on multiple occasions throughout his career. So yeah, I'll be limiting Spurs tonight. And as far as Denver goes, KCP is right there as kind of a pivot. So that's interesting to me. I think I'll just be playing one of Brown or KCP on any lineup.
Yeah, I like that call as well. And you mentioned the Spurs. I was running some optimals earlier. And do you have any rules you're putting in, Keith? We'll step aside in a second. I'm just kind of curious, Keith, from a tournament perspective. Are you putting any rules in? You max 3 Spurs, max 2 Spurs?
I do. I have a rule of max 2 Spurs unless I am playing one of the Minnesota studs.
I like that.
Then I can run 3 Spurs.
All right. Will, you got anything else with the boys? You want to trade anybody else? You want to trade Anthony Davis? You want to trade Halliburton?
Yeah. I'm telling you, I think this is the move for the Lakers. Get in the sweepstakes. I mean, heck, the way the Lakers are playing right now, they may still get Victor.
Do appreciate y'all watching the first portion of this show. We're going to yield to the Fanduel sponsor at Crunch Time. Kevin Roth is going to take y'all home. Roth, it's all yours.
Appreciate it, Dino. Good stuff as always. Welcome to it. Yes, it is Crunch Time, and it is sponsored by FanDuel, and you can sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their bonus offer. You bet $5, get $150 back in free bets and a free 3-month pass to NBA League Pass. Terms and conditions do apply. No terms and conditions to this show right here. We got 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, Mr. Andy Means. Did I catch you drinking the Stubby?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. It's just classic. So good.
Oh, yeah.
It's
good
Stubby kind of
Stubby.
day. Oh, man.
There it is. Oh, yeah.
That's just a classy choice, sir. How you feeling today? How you doing?
I feel all right. I mean, it's been a day, but I didn't want to, come at Chief again, but I also wanted to tell him if he still happens to be listening, the Lakers aren't getting Wembanyama either because the Pelicans have a right to swap their pick. So they're probably not getting him even if they suck this year. So, yeah, this slate's weird, man. I was just, while you guys were talking, while Ice was talking about chalk and whatnot, I looked on DK, and 4 of the top 5 highest owned guys on DK are Spurs. And I think the Spurs, I have all sorts of, flippy floppy comments to talk about with the Spurs because I think they're going to get work tonight, but they're cheap. So if you're a tournament player, man, I would just be looking at that P-owned column and be like, holy cow, let's just throw a few more entries in tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Ice, that is your specialty, sir, the GPPs and the hot takes. And you've already kind of come in saying you're a little bit iffy on some of this chalk.
Yeah, I think I end up underweight on the Spurs overall. And I do that just if you run lineups without any rules, you're going to get as many as 5 Spurs in lineups because they're so cheap. They won this game the last time they played 2 days ago or whatever it was. I'm with Meansy here. I think Minnesota takes revenge on that. They come out and they just destroy them here. So I will definitely be limiting Spurs in lineups.
Okay.
Did you see Pop's presser after that game? He's already planting seeds of he's joking oh, we're not even going to go to the game. We got our win. It's just, I mean, if you're a player, I was can you even yell at me if we suck tonight? You're literally making jokes about us already losing. I don't know. Just human nature is just going to take over tonight. And I think they're going to get worked.
Okay. Well, we shall see. We got to figure out what we are going to do. All we've said is what we're not going to do. And I would like to know what I'm supposed to do. So means it's a big slate. We got a lot going on. You want to kind of walk us through this?
Yeah, not a lot to go over as far as news. I have the situation room pulled up. We're still waiting on Scotty Barnes. That'll move stuff a little bit, but it's not going to be slate changing, I don't think. Everything else is pretty. Yeah.
Is this premium, by the way, the situation room?
We moved this to free this year. Okay.
You should tell the people about it, because if they're watching for free, this is one of my favorite tools that we have. I check it out every day.
Yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory in the fact that we list everybody who's DFS relevant in here and give them an impact rating on if they miss. Throw a little blurb in there on who benefits if that person's out. Jaden Ivey just got ruled out for the Pistons. He's not he wasn't on the table because he's so expensive, but got to see who. Yeah, they got some cheap guards, so maybe some Piston stuff will open up. We'll see what the projections guys come up with that one. Yeah, and it just it's the first thing I look at when I look at the slate, honestly. It's literally the first thing I look at, just because it gives you a feel for what we're waiting on and what's to come, and you just kind of have that plan in the back of your mind. You go from there. So, yeah, to answer your question, not a lot we're waiting on, but as you can see, random stuff pops up all the time.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's walk through it.
Yeah, FanDuel. I love Trey tonight. 8-7 on FanDuel. I put this on his little blurb on my core plays. No, I think I put it in as my my write-up on Lineup HQ. But you look at his FanDuel box score, 43 at least in all 3 games. He's shot drastically worse this season so far than he has the past 3 years. I think he's at 44% true shooting. The last 3 seasons, he's been anywhere from 58 to 60. So he's shooting poorly and he's still rocking 40 balls.
Yeah.
And he's 8-7. And the Pistons, it's early, and it's not like we expect them to get better, but they've been, bottom 4 defense in the league and bottom 3 against point guard. So 25% ownership, I don't think is enough for Trey on FanDuel. So I have him tagged as a core play there. What you're doing at point guard alongside Trey, in my opinion, maybe one of the Rockets guys. Always love them. Jalen Green and KPJ. I think those guys are fine. If you want to go really cheap, you can go Pat Bev for 4.9. You can go Drew Holiday for 7.8. Ben Simmons is projecting well. I'm going to repeat the exact same damn thing I said about him on Monday, and just don't play him in cash games, man. He shot 3 to 5 times every game. You just cannot pay this kind of price tag for a guy that does not want to shoot. So I just wouldn't do it. Personally, I don't care what his projection says. And he got 20 FanDuel points last game. So I don't think it's a smart play. Play him in tournaments, but not at the ownership. So just X him out. I don't know. So that's what I'm looking at for point guards. Let's go to shooting guard. Let's see here. Waiting for my screen to catch up to my words here. All right, yeah. So you can put Bruce. Oh yeah, Bruce Brown's only shooting guard eligible on FanDuel, so just lock him in there and kind of figure out what you're going to do next. So there are some options here. Nothing's really clear in my opinion. If you're going cheap, I think you go KCP at 4.7. I think DeRozan's fine. I think we're maybe a hint too high on him. But if you're playing him, you can't get Giannis, in my opinion, comfortably. So I would just rather play Giannis and not play DeRozan and figure. And our projections love Bam. If I'm playing Bam and DeRozan and it's costing me Giannis, I would just not do that, and I would play Giannis in what would that be, a 4 or 5K guy. And there's plenty of those, especially on FanDuel. So Who you're going to go with in alongside Brown would probably be something in the 5-6K range. So I'm looking at like a Gordon Hayward I would be fine with. An RJ Barrett I would be okay with. Maybe you do like a Grayson Allen at 4-2. I think he's suitable, but nothing I really like here. Oh, and Anthony Edwards, which is kind of a good transition to small forward where he has small forward eligibility. Edwards, that is. I do like Giannis here at the small forward, just 'cause I'm not in love with the position in general on FanDuel, which is usually not the case. I would usually say play him at power forward. I might change my mind when I get there. But basically, anyone else you're pairing with Giannis here is kind of guys I already mentioned. Hayward, KCP, Anthony Edwards, Grayson Allen. So not really anybody else to mention that I think is noteworthy. So I will push along to power forward. I really like Aaron Gordon. He is quite a bit down in our projections, but no MPJ. I think I really like him especially as a way to get Giannis in there and like Dre in there. Kelly Olynyk's right there with him. Those guys are fine. I think I slightly prefer Olynyk. Like we saw on Monday, he didn't get those like low 30s minutes that he was getting the game before. I don't know. There's just no way to know if that's a trend or not, but we have him at 30. So like he could play 33, he could play 27. That's basically why we have him at 30. So I like him slightly more than Gordon. Same thoughts. I already talked about Ben Simmons. I already talked about Bam Adebayo. So I just think you kind of push those guys out of the cash game discussion. You have Jabari Smith at 6'3", assuming he starts at the 5 again tonight, especially his rebound rates look really good these past 2 games with no Fernando. So I would put him in there. I think you could do like Bobby Portis maybe. But yeah, like I kind of like a Olynyk Gordon pairing. So that is what I would be looking at. So center, I think this is pretty much the only time you're going to hear me talk about a Spur on FanDuel, and you're going to be sick of me talking about them on DraftKings, just the way the pricing works out. I think you can play Pirtle here. He's my favorite Spur on FanDuel. Put him in there, and it kind of fits the build. You can, if you're doing something else at power forward that is, kind of away from what I was mentioning, you can put Olynyk there. Bam's fine, projects perfectly fine, but his rates have just been way down. And like we can't like go all the way down to what he's been doing because like we have a huge sample size of his past seasons of what he's been as a player. You can't just overreact to a few games, but it's concerning enough that like I just would try not to play him. So in cash games, that is. And then same thing we talked about Simmons going to the ownership follow just because his projection is so good. So tough to say there. If it's me, I'm playing Pirtle at center, and I'll pass it to you guys now.
Very good. All right, let's talk some GPPs here. Ice, start us off with FanDuel and talk to me about what your plan is.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Spurs first, just because I made that comment at the top. On FanDuel, they're not going to be near as popular, and some of them are actually pretty good tournament plays. As far as Simmons and Adebayo, I agree. I don't want to play either of these guys. They're both really cheap compared to what they've done previously in their careers, but Simmons is taking like 5 shots a game. Eventually, he's going to shoot more than that, and he's probably going to crush for his price tag. This game against Milwaukee, I'm not really trying to chase it against one of the best defenses in the league. So I'll be completely off Simmons tonight. And kind of the same with Adebayo. I just want to see it first. Portland has Nurkic back, so a little bit better against big men than like they got crushed against big men last year. But with Nurkic back, they should be better. I'm just going to take a chance that Bam puts up another dud. So I'll be fading him as well.
Okay, what do you like?
All right, so we can just run through a couple position by position at the guard spot here. Point guard Trey Jones is one of those guys. I really like him. He's expensive on FanDuel.
Sorry, I didn't. Just to interrupt, Josh Primo just got ruled out.
Oh, wow.
So that's very DK specific because he's one of the better cheap plays on DK. So I just wanted to interrupt you on that.
That does change some things. Primo is one of the Spurs that I was playing quite a bit of just because of the price and somebody who can.
The Spurs are going to be so chalky on DK, man. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, like you have to play some of them now, though. I think that changes the situation enough to where they're missing so much usage that they're like everybody is just underpriced for what they're going to do. I really like them on FanDuel now, especially where they're not going to be near as popular. Trey Jones, I was just about to talk about him. he could see a lot more usage than he has been seeing. 6,300. It's not a comfortable price to pay for him, but I mean, he should have to do a ton. They don't have anyone really outside of Keldon and Pirtle.
Yeah, look at their guards. Look at their guards, man. It's Trey, Richardson, and Romeo Langford. That's it. Those are their guards.
Yeah, I'm going to add – so that 0-2 rule on the Spurs now, I think I'm changing that now. I'm going to allow 3 Spurs now.
All right. I said
sorry for – yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I thought that was important enough to interject.
Yeah, a couple of my favorite plays, Lauri Markkanen, somebody I have tagged. He was chalk 2 nights ago in this matchup. He's against Houston here, was playing outstanding until he just completely dudded as chalk. So I think people are off of him now. He's shown an awesome ceiling this year, going back to him. Nobody's playing Donovan Mitchell. He's in a great matchup against Orlando. And Darius Garland is still out. He's seen insane usage. He's scoring over 30 a game. I love Donovan Mitchell tonight as well.
Okay. Forwards,
Kevin Durant, somebody I definitely like. Giannis is going to be the popular guy. I like playing that game with Durant going off for Brooklyn, and then some of the secondary pieces stepping up for Milwaukee. So if you play Durant, play like a Drew on the other side, or a Portis is really cheap on FanDuel. Definitely don't mind getting different with Giannis a little bit here. I will be over the field on Giannis, but I will also be over the field on Durant, and then the secondary Bucks pieces as well. I mentioned Markkanen. Jabari Smith played really well at the 5 in his last game. So assuming that Garuba is out of the starting lineup again and Smith is playing the 5, love him in tournaments. Let's see here. Who else do I have? Keldon is not going to be played very much on FanDuel. That might change now a little bit with Primo out. Aaron Gordon is somebody Meansy mentioned. He's way underpriced for what he's been doing. With MPJ in and now with MPJ out, he could see an even bigger uptick in usage here. So I will be playing a lot of Aaron Gordon as well. As far as some centers here, let's see. Mitchell Robinson is really cheap. Definitely like him against Charlotte, who has notoriously struggled against big men. I'm playing more Markkanen than I am Olynyk. So a guy that I'll be a little bit under the field on. Very few people are playing Jokic and Embiid. I prefer to spend up at the other positions. If I was picking one of those guys, I would go overweight on Jokic. The Lakers have been really good on defense, but now Jokic is playing without MPJ. Maybe he sees that scoring bounce back a little bit. Embiid, Harden is a guy that I didn't talk about. I definitely like Harden tonight. We've seen Harden kind of take over the show a little bit early on here for Philly. So I prefer playing more Harden than Embiid. Anthony Davis, I think more people are playing LeBron. So Anthony Davis getting almost no ownership. I don't mind getting some AD in there.
Okay, very good. Means you want to kick it over to DK here?
Yeah, man. Like, let's look at
First
this.
chat.
Oh yeah. So. Well, I'll just look at this is all going to change, and I'm hoping to catch it here in a little bit. But like, yeah, the Primo wasn't even one of those guys either. Good Lord. Richardson, Keldon, Trey Jones, and Pirtle, 4 of the top 5 highest owned on DK, and this is pre-Josh Primo news. So just to reiterate, I have the lineups page up here too, which is another free tool that you should just always be looking at, by the way, because we have it listed. We got a little double up there. We have it listed, obviously, with starters, but the bench is, generally speaking, listed kind of by depth chart too. So, like who we think is going to, first off the bench, most minutes, etc. So, as you can see, once this Gorgie Jang ghost profile disappears, they got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys, and Langford is their main bench guy. So, main bench guard. So, man, this is going to be Spurs central, especially in the backcourt. Like they can get around some of the Pirtle stuff, Keldon, etc. But like Richardson, Trey, and Langford, I guess, are going to have to play a decent amount. So,
and I mean, do you want to play all those guys or?
I want to see what our project. I want to see. I'm not gonna. I don't want to speculate just because we have a good projections team, and that should be coming in soon. But like my comment earlier is just vastly different now because, especially for backcourt guys, like Trey is going to really increase, and Josh Richardson, who I obviously have tagged, but I felt iffy about it. But like they just have to play. So I think you feel a little bit better about eating the chalk than you did 15 minutes ago, I guess is the best way to put it. So let me try to talk through some of this other stuff, hopefully get through it quickish enough and try to catch this. They're about to run the Spurs upload here. So I'll try to just talk through stuff real quick. Actually, let me just zoom out. Is probably a better idea, and I'll wait and see for when this refreshes. But basically, we do have a lot of cheap value on DK. I felt squeamish about it. Okay, that went through. So I'm going to hit a refresh here in a second and see what all this looks like. It's like spin ups are the main thing I want to talk about before I look at this Spurs stuff. I love Giannis tonight, but you don't have to play him on DK because LeBron's 9-9. We talked about this. Man, what was that, Roth? Like last Thursday or something, maybe? I think it was Thursday when there was like a 2-game slate.
Yeah.
And I said the same thing. It's a little different now just because the slate's different, but I think you can play Giannis. I think you can play LeBron. If I had to like gun to my head, I would probably say the smart play is to play LeBron. I just think this matchup is so good for Giannis tonight just because I've written about it in some other content on the site, but everything that he does well is like what Brooklyn has been terrible at so far. Like they allow points in the paint, they allow fast break points, and they allow second chance points. That is what Giannis does.
Yeah.
So like the fact that Brooklyn struggles is what makes him so appealing. So I'm going to refresh and see what we did with the Spurs stuff. Let this catch up. But yeah, that's kind of the trouble with the main sticking point for me so far on DK is just figuring out what to do with those two studs because Pirtle's popping at center a lot. Richardson's popping in the backcourt. I'm trying to waste time talking so there we go. Okay. Let's see what this Spurs stuff looks like now. So Trey popped up a little more as expected. So I think you're going to I would be looking at, you're probably starting with at least 3 Spurs. And it's my priority. Man, Keldon's looking good too. The thing with Keldon is that he's at a position that has like LeBron and Giannis. So like if it's me, I think my three favorite Spurs are going to be in order. I would say probably Richardson, Jones, Pirtle, and then Keldon would be 4th. I'm not going to say you can't play all 4 because they're all going to look pretty good, but the rest of the guys didn't pop as nearly as much as I thought they would. I'll say right off the bat, I love Romeo Langford as a tournament play because like this game could get really out of hand and he just plays a ton and it's just garbage time hero. So that's kind of how I feel about Spurs. I feel really good about playing 3 of them now. 4 is a little iffy. Obviously, all 4 of them are in play. Let me real quick just go through some like other positions I haven't talked about because Pirtle, center, Keldon, power forward. I already talked about like Giannis and LeBron. Richardson, shooting guard, small forward. Trey's at point guard. So let me look at just real quick. I'm going to just real quick look at some other guard options. And then real quick, I'll look at some other forward options and I'll pass it back. Honestly, I'm just going to actually start kind of doing a build and see where some sticking points are. So put Trey in there. Richardson at shooting guard. Nothing else at the guard spot really stands out. So you're probably looking at, I don't know if the Pistons update went in, but like Corey Joseph is another cheap option. They did say he's starting and he's 3-3. So I think you could put him at this guard spot if you kind of want to go Starsy Scrubsy. Jalen Green would probably be my preferred option for like a last piece at the guard spot. Let me real quick look at these forwards. I know like Markkanen and Keldon Johnson was kind of a sticking point for me earlier. They're kind of in the same price range. Markkanen failed his shot the other night, but he actually had his highest usage of the season. The only reason he didn't have a good fantasy game, 2 reasons, because he didn't shoot well and he didn't rebound nearly like he did in those other games. So like if you're getting a little squeamish about playing a bunch of Spurs, just go from Keldon to Laurie, Markkanen, and save the 300. You also have a Linux there in the cheap range, but I already kind of talked about the expensive forwards, and then I talked about Pirtle. So I think I've soaked up enough time here. Want to hear Ice's thoughts on, especially on all this Spurs chalk on DK.
Okay, Ice. Let's talk about the Spurs chalk, because Meansy said, all right, it makes these guys a little bit more appealing, but I imagine this is also going to boost their ownership even more. Even you came around and said, okay, I'm more interested now. Is there still room to fade this, or now do you just have to jump on board?
I think it's much more of a jump on board situation now. So, for example, Josh Richardson is somebody I was really interested in fading, but now he's probably going to play. Like, we had him for 28 minutes before the news. We only have him for 31 minutes now, but there's upside. He could play 36 minutes in this spot. Yeah. Like, it's really hard to see him playing under 30 minutes. A guy that's 3,900 playing 30 minutes, he has to fall into some fantasy points. Also, Primo was one of my favorite way to get leverage on the Josh Richardson play. He was more than likely, I had him projected not to start. Him coming off the bench could play more minutes than Richardson, could definitely have higher usage than Richardson. Now that Primo is gone as an option, as leverage off of Richardson, I'm probably just playing Richardson.
What about the bench guy, the bench guard?
Yeah, Langford, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, especially on DK, at the minimum price, allows you to get up to 2 studs probably in a lineup. So even if he doesn't have a big game, you don't necessarily need a ceiling performance out of him. If it lets you get 2 ceiling scores from other spots in your lineup. I think there are other options on the Spurs bench too, not very comfortable ones, but Doug McDermott, like, they need somebody to score. Doug McDermott is somebody who's not afraid to shoot the ball. He's 3,700. I could see having some interest there. So yeah, essentially I'm going from a fade of the Spurs to now jamming them in.
Okay. You want to talk some other positions here, or you feel like that kind of just covers it and you walk through it on FanDuel?
That covers most of it. It's a lot of the same guys. I mentioned Mitchell, Markkanen, Durant are 3 guys I'm definitely overweight on. Love the spot for Giannis. Let me see here. Who are some of my other higher owned? Like Trey Jones might end up in, I don't know, 80% of my lineups now. Jared Vanderbilt, I really like for Utah. He's cheap. If he stays out of foul trouble, we should see him play some more minutes. Yeah, I mean, LeBron and Giannis are 2 of the best plays. I'll be overweight on them. So the Patrick Beverley and the Lakers are probably worth discussing as well. That was kind of some of the cheap guys that I was using to pivot off of the Spurs earlier. No Russell Westbrook. Beverley should see an uptick in playing time and usage here. Should handle the ball a little bit more. So I would still like Patrick Beverley. And I was taking shots on Lonnie Walker and Austin Reeves and maybe even Kendrick Nunn a little bit as pivots off of those Spurs guys. I'll probably lower my ownership of those guys and pivot that to the Spurs now that they're a little bit better plays.
Gotcha. Okay, very good. Means, anything you want to add? We got about 5 minutes until lock. I think you're muted.
I switched my core play tag from Pirtle to Trey Jones on DK just strictly because I feel more confident in the backcourt with one less guy there to take minutes.
Sure. Okay. Let's get some questions in here. I'll start with more. This is FanDuel Cash or GPP. Any thoughts on Jamal Murray with min going up and MPJ out? Oh, probably minutes going up and MPJ out.
Last piece for Cash. I'll let I speak on tournaments.
Yeah, I don't think there's still enough ceiling there. Max was 27 minutes this year. 30 is probably an absolute cap. I don't think there's enough ceiling.
Okay, very good. Ball says, hey, Means, you like Hayward over DSJ?
Yeah, I do like Hayward over DSJ, just like my 1v1 question you have for raw points.
Very good. More FanDuel Cash question. Any interest in Kojo at 3,700 with no Ivy?
That was a FanDuel Cash question?
It was.
I don't think you need it on FanDuel. He is 3.7. If it's the last piece and makes everything work, sure. I wouldn't go out of my way to get him. I like Joseph seems more useful for Cash on DK.
Okay. FanDuel Cash again, Richardson or KCP?
Richardson for Fanduel Cash. Richardson, or I would go Richardson.
Okay, very good. Let's see. I assume this is kind of a GPP question. So, Ice, I'm coming to you. Is it viable to play KD and Kyrie together since they soak up so much of the team's usage, assuming I run it back with Giannis, or would you prefer LeBron and Jokic as a game stack?
If you can fit KD, Kyrie, and Giannis in a lineup, which might be possible now with Detroit value, with San Antonio value, and Lakers and Denver have some value too. Like it could be possible. I mean, you need that game to absolutely go nuts. I prefer just playing one of Kyrie and KD, but I think it is viable.
Okay, very good. DK Cash means Vanderbilt and Giannis or LeBron and Hayward.
Yeah. See, it's stuff like that makes me think you just play LeBron. Yeah, do the LeBron one, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. FanDuel GPP, is it okay to play KCP, Brown, and Gordon together, Ice? KCP, Brown, and Gordon.
I would definitely want LeBron in my lineup or AD if I'm doing that. I don't love it. I just don't like this game environment overall a ton. I wouldn't do it, but it's viable, sure.
Okay. DK Cash means P-Bev or Bruce Brown, and are you trying to jam in LeBron and Giannis?
I don't think you need to jam in both now, and I would do Bruce Brown, and Scotty Barnes is playing and starting, FYI.
Okay. Very good. D-Rock, DKGPP, last piece, Markkanen or Smith Jr. means.
What was that, GPP, I thought?
DK Cash. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. DKGPP, Ice, last piece, Markkanen or DSJ?
Markkanen.
All right, gonna hop over real quick here and look at some of these YouTube questions. Any interest in the Charlotte 6K guys, Ice, on DK with Terry out?
Yeah, they're definitely all in play. DSJ we just talked about. Hayward is in play. Oubre I like as well. One of them probably has a ceiling game here. They're going to have all the usage for Charlotte. Tougher matchup against New York, so I don't love the game environment, but they're all underpriced for their roles.
Okay. A lot of people asking about Gordon Hayward. I feel like we didn't talk a lot about him, but the question here is, y'all like Gordon Hayward any?
He's fine for cash. He projects well. It's just like,
Nice.
Yeah, kind of the same. He's absolutely in play. A little bit underpriced. How many times does he have a ceiling game in this spot? I'm not sure about that against New York.
Okay. Any love for McDermott?
In play for tournaments. For
I
sure.
loved Ice. I loved your McDermott comment earlier, Ice. Yeah.
Somebody has to score on that team unless they just put up like 85. Yeah. But
yeah.
And you could see something where Pop just plays him at the 2 because he's like, I don't care. Like, we have nobody. I'm just going to play him at the 2, Kelvin at the 3, something stupid like that.
Yeah. Last piece in the DKGPP, Ice, Reeves or Kojo?
Oh, man. We don't know if Reeves is starting for sure yet, do we, Andy?
If who's starting?
Austin Reeves, Lakers.
I'm pretty sure I saw he is starting.
That's the rumor. I would go Reeves over Kojo if he's starting.
Okay, very good. Fit Crooks, DK Cash, DSJ and Olynyk means, or KCP and Jalen Green?
Slightly into the first one.
Very good. Get those lineups in. We are locking momentarily, and we've caught up on most of these questions. A couple people asking about Tyler Hero on DK, assuming is a GPP question. So, Ice?
Yeah, absolutely in play. Great matchup against Portland. I do like some of the Portland guys as well. I didn't talk about this game very much, but I do like Hero, and then one of Simon's or Josh Hart is the way I would play this game. Josh Hart is still cheap. He's shown a ceiling, and Hero has been doing a ton for Miami. It's part of why Bam's rates are down. Hero's just getting a ton of usage.
Okay, good stuff. We hit the lock. We got a few more questions coming in. We'll go to Robbie here. DKGPP, LeBron and Hero, or Olynyk and Giannis?
GPP.
Nice, that was for you.
Sorry.
LeBron, it's all good. DKGPP, LeBron and Hero, or Olynyk and Giannis?
I prefer the Olynyk Giannis side.
Okay, very good. FanDuel Cash means your boy J. Rue or Edwards?
I mean, I'm just gonna keep buying all of the Anthony Edwards stock and just keep losing everything. So I'll go Anthony Edwards.
So I guess there was some little some beef that went down between he and Kat the other night. Did you see this?
Yeah, Kat called him out for having Popeyes too much.
Yeah, that's a weird ass thing to like. That's a really weird thing to say in a post game conference, right?
Well, like last year, he made I think he went viral because he like brought McDonald's to the post game media press conference, and like was saying, I think he like might have ordered it from his phone, or like he might have like Postmated it or something from the press conference. But then I swear I saw something in the offseason how he's like, I cut all that stuff out, got my on the health kick, blah blah blah, reshaping my body, whatever. And then I see Kat calling him out for having Popeyes. Like, well, that didn't last long.
No, fell off that wagon pretty quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird I mean, he's probably fine. He's like 24 or something, right? Like
he's still the most athletic guy, or one of the most athletic guys in the league. So like,
right.
Eat your Popeyes, man. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Enjoy it while you can.
Right, like you're gonna die young because of it, but it's not gonna impact your play. Like,
not if he burns like 7,500 calories a day.
That's true. I was just thinking the cholesterol, like, because that's me. Like, I was eating all that crap, and then I got my cholesterol tested, and they're like, "This is alarming, sir. It's nearly 400."
This is alarming.
Yeah, this is not good. All right, let's see. J Sam says, Meansy, in your FanDuel write-up, I saw you mention Eric Gordon. Please sell me on him. I am sadly in that range.
Oh, I'll sell you on him. And it has nothing to do with what I think about him, because I watched that game like every other DFS player the other night, and he looked old as hell, man. He looked like, it looked like it hurt my joints just watching him like try to get to the rack. But the Smash column loves him. So like that's why I wrote him up. So I was looking for someone in that range, and the Smash column loved him, so I wrote him up. I think he looked old, man.
Okay. A couple people asking about Hero for cash on DK. Means any interest there?
Yeah.
Like last piece?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I had his player profile pulled up a second ago. Dude's had no less than 6 rebounds in every game. His rebound rate's like skyrocketed this year. He had 15 in the last game. So a lot of people talking about his usage, but he's rebounding the hell out of the ball, which is probably hurting Bam some too.
I'm sorry. Did you say he had 15 boards?
Yeah.
Tyler Hero had 15 boards the other night? That's insane.
He's like taller than people think too. And like, he's always like lurking, like, right around the free throw. I don't know if he's like just good at tracking it or what. Yeah. I don't know. He's a good rebounder.
Wow. I was not expecting the 15 boards there. All right. A few more QQs and then we'll get out of here. Any Julius Randle love on FanDuel?
Yeah. I do have some Julius Randle love. Let me see here. Oh, the matchup against Charlotte. Like, Charlotte was a team that we picked on the majority of last season. I think that game's going very overlooked. One of RJ Barrett or Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle is going off in this spot. So I definitely like all 3 of those next.
I'm glad to hear you mention that, Ice, because I meant to look at this earlier, and I looked this morning because I wanted to see if Charlotte's still playing fast under Clifford, because they always played slow when he was with the Magic. They're like 4th in pace so far. So like if they'll probably be a little better defensively, but as long as they keep playing fast, it's a good team to target.
Yeah. All right. We've got a bunch of questions. I'm just going to take the ones that we have in here now and then get out of here because we got like 6 questions. So let's kind of lightning round these before we head out. Ball says DK Cash means Vandy KCP or Reeves Kelvin.
I would do the first one.
DK Cash Hayward or Pirtle. P.S. I've already got 3 Spurs.
Still play Pirtle.
Okay. FanDuel GPP last piece. Mitrob or Olynyk, Ice?
Mitrob.
DK GPP. Okay. Making your work here. 4-3 in the util. This is where I landed. This spot sucked.
Me?
Which
or
site?
Ice?
Is DK GPP, Ice?
Which site? DK. Sorry.
DK, yeah. 4-3 in the util.
Which site though?
It's the util.
You can give me if you want to give him some leeway to look it up. You can give me one.
Sure. DK Cash, LeBron or Giannis means I feel like you've kind of fallen into LeBron, even though you freaking love Giannis and you hate that you have to make this decision.
It's just one of those when if you give me like 5 2v2s that have LeBron and Giannis in all of them, like the other option is just enough to make me think, yeah, just play LeBron.
Yeah. But Giannis is going to
4-3.
Oh, he's going to destroy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 4-3 DKGPP. I promise you there's no one good there.
I think you could take a shot on Emmanuel quickly. We just talked about the game environment.
Yeah.
He randomly played 27 minutes a couple games ago and put up 39 DK points. I think you can chase that a little bit. Great game environment here.
Very good. Last question of the day from Mellow Rose. FanDuel Cash means hero, Jay Green or Hayward?
I think Jay Green's the safest. Got another 30 the other night. So
very good.
Just always gets 30.
All right. One last question. DK Noel or Quickly? So is that where we're going? Quickly, Ice?
Yeah, I'd go quickly there.
Yeah, very good. Okay, gentlemen, we have given the plays. We have answered the questions. It is time to get on out of here. So for Means and for Ice and for our wonderful production team, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.